Hello. Good afternoon, everyone, pop culture fans. This is Andreas, pop culture guy. That's right, pop culture people. Tonight is me, Andreas, pop culture guy, monitoring our latest DC animation movie review. Of course, that's the DC AU animation universe, the Son of Batman. And of course, I'm joined here with three wonderful people. Of course, first off, I just want to say hello to Jeremiah. Welcome back, sir. Of course, everyone knows he's another big DC guy. His last appearance was Superman vs. Lee. Great view. Please check that out. How you doing, sir?
I'm doing great. I can't wait to start talking about Batman. It's been a while since I've been on with you guys, and I'm excited for this. It's gonna be a lot of fun.
Yes. As a huge Batman fan, I'm very excited to talk about this movie as well because Batman. But yeah. So anyway, also we have the handsome, knowledgeable person himself, Jeff. Jeff, how you doing, sir?
Good, sir. You know, this is your first ever moderating a DC animated film before, sir. So isn't that special?
Oh, I didn't realize that's true. And guess what? It's a Batman thing, so I'm happy to do that. Anyway, the person that's laughing so hard here, the half cybernetic person, half shark, cybernetic shark. Sir, how you doing? And you also gorgeous. Apparently, he doesn't like the word beautiful.
Oh, Jesus. Anyways, I am fine, sir. Thank you. Yes, thank you.
Yes, and I do want to iterate, yes, I know it's the evening, but I don't know what's the time zone for some of you people in the internet. So, just roll for it. Anyway, so as we said before, we're back again for another awesome DC animation movie review, which is really awesome. Today we're talking about the Son of Batman. This is the the third film of the official DC animation movie universe. If anyone knows, this is part of like the new 52 storylines that starting from Justice League War, and that began from the Flashpoint animation movie. So this is the third one here. This movie is pretty much based on the Grant Morrison and the Kubrick's 2006 Batman Son storyline. If anyone knows, that's the storyline when Grant Morrison officially put Damian Wayne into the DC film continuity. If anyone knows, there was a Elseworld storyline, or not Elseworld storyline. There was a storyline called the the Son of the Demon, a late '80s storyline where Batman was recruited by Ra's al Ghul to help him with a mission that was like a personal thing, because this the person that killed his wife, and then him and Talia did have like a night of making love, and like apparently was pregnant, but of course she had a miscarriage, and then towards the end of that storyline it was presumed that she got birth maybe, but this storyline made that official of making Talia actually give birth to Batman's biological son, that's aka Damian Wayne. And so far in terms of the DC continuity and the comic books, and so far the media, Damian is so far the latest of the Robin mantle. So and plus I think this is also a good way to review this movie because we all know that the DC or the James Gunn DC universe is going to adapt this storyline for the Brave and the Bold. So if anyone wants to know about Damian Wayne, I highly recommend read the storyline of the Batman Son, but also watch this movie because I think this is a good just a story of what kind of storyline that they're going to adapt later in the Gods and Monsters chapters. Anyway, so let me go round table. Starting with you, Jeremiah. Have you seen this film? If not, what was the first how was your viewing of this movie, and is it your favorite of the Batman directed TV?
No, he's never even seen it before, bro.
Oh, really? Well, let me see. Let me ask him.
I watched it yesterday in preparation for the review because it's a review. I expected I would have needed to have seen it. I hadn't seen this one before. I'd seen a good chunk of the DC movies. I know we're gonna hit it scene by scene, so I really don't want to get into it too much. I'm just gonna say that DC regularly does so much better with their animated films than they do with live action. It is breathtaking how much tighter their storytelling is in their animated features. I'm going to leave it at that for right now because I have a lot. I have a lot of notes. I know Jeff does too.
Yeah, no, I agreed. I mean, 100%. I mean, the whole DC community kind of agrees. Like, the whole DC directed animation movies are like the best. I mean, like, in terms of like making like top ranking, these movies are like always the top. You know, like it's there.
With the exception of,
Sometimes maybe good, sometimes maybe shit.
I was going to say, with the exception of the Spider-Verse movies, DC rules animation and Marvel has been dominating.
They're not all super good. We've watched a couple of DC animated films that were not that good. So
Yeah,
let's just speak.
They're better than a lot of them. Like, outside of X-Men '97, what animated Marvel has blown you out of the water?
Oh, DC animated films are really good. They're like they're top notch.
yeah. No, I understand where you're coming from, Jeremiah. I mean, like, you know, there's I mean, DC animation films have hit and miss, but in terms of quality, like they hit it apart compared to Marvel. And unfortunately, you know, Marvel doesn't embed direct to DVD, so it's always a sad thing they do, because it'd be fun for them to like adapt their classic Marvel storylines. But you know, we'll say that another time. Jeff, let me get to you, sir. What I know, you know, this is our first time, but what's your thoughts on the first, you know, your viewing on this movie? And go ahead.
I don't know why Marvel never made fucking animated movies like these movies, like when they were so hot, like, you know, like when they first came out or whatever, you know, like I don't know why they didn't make like an animated movie here and there, you know, just to say fuck it, you know, like why not? They could have made some really good fucking movies. Marvel could have, I'm telling you.
But instead, they decided to do Ultimates, which was okay, and then like future Young Avengers.
They focused on live action, is what I'm saying. Like they didn't do anything animated. I'm saying if they would have done something animated, I think it would have been cool if they done like an animated film, like something like this, you know. But I never saw Son of Batman until tonight, and I don't know. It's a really quick movie. It's very compact, and you know, really like the pace is really rat-a-tat-tat-tat-tat, because you know the story just has to be pushed like really fast. Well, you know what I'm saying, to get it all through, you know, in like the, you know, whatever it is, 66 minutes or whatever that the movie is or whatever, you know. So it's a short film. Which is cool. I dig that because it's, you know, it's you know, it's nice to watch something that's entertaining and is less than an hour and a half to watch. But yeah, I dug this version of Batman. I dug this Batman, whatever age Batman that was or whatever in the movie. I was feeling this Batman. And I thought the animation for 2014 or whatever looked like better, more crisp than the last DC animated film we watched. Whichever one that was, I forget. But
War, Justice League War.
Justice League War, yeah. I felt like the animation was a little better, was a little more crisp. But that could have just been me. I'm not sure. One thing I'll say though, last thing is that you kind of have to have like some kind of a Batman background, kind of, you know, to understand some of the characters and stuff like that. You know what I mean? And so, you know, like that's one weak spot I think that the movie has, is that like if you don't know anything about the comics or anything like that, you know, and you don't really follow Batman, you don't know who like Nightwing is and shit like that. You know what I'm saying? Like whatever, etc. So that's all.
No, I understand. It's crazy how much they have here. It's like, oh my god, I had to explain this, but I mean, the movie does a really good job. I mean, because this is like the first start of like the Batman trilogy we're gonna go through for this like new continuity of the DC animation universe. So it's, you know, they're gonna start building up the Batman family, because they're not gonna go through the traditional Batman family that we know. which we'll get into in the sequels that is going to follow this movie. Cyber, sir, your thoughts on the film? Is it your first time, second time? Tell me about your thoughts on Son of Batman.
So, Son of Batman, I've seen before. A few years back, I was doing a DC animated kind of watching party, as I like to call it, because I had a friend that was big into them, and he suggested I watch some of them. So I started watching them. This is one of the ones I checked out, and watching it again, my opinion pretty much for it stays the same. I wasn't a huge fan of the animation. The voiceovers were okay. I mean, I think the biggest come out of this, I think, was Talia al Ghul's breast in this cartoon anime film. Like that, they stood out like out of anything. It was like
A+.
It was kind of like, what was going on here? Like, you guys sucked at the rest of the animation, but yet you made those just right. Like, I was thinking to myself, like, what were the animators thinking? Like, I mean, I know Marina Baccarin does the voice of her, which is fantastic because she's gorgeous and she's got a great voice. But then at the same time, I'm like, why is the rest of it look so retarded? But yet that is like your main focus in this whole animation. So I remember thinking that watching it the first time, and it was just like, okay. And the story is okay, I think, for the most part. I think it's an interesting story, Talia and Batman having a kid and, him growing up with Talia instead of really Batman, really, he's got more of his son. But at the same time, they kind of make him more out to be like, Robin, I felt, versus being like, the kind of the protege of Batman, I thought. And so I don't really feel he's like the son of Batman because he's more of a Robin character. But overall, I think, it has some ups and downs. It's okay. It's not the worst, but at the same time, I just was not a huge fan of the animation. So definitely could have been better there. And the voiceovers could have been way better too. So so definitely, an okay, animated flick.
Yeah. No, I agree.
I thought Batman was well voiced.
Oh, really? Okay.
Yeah, I did.
Okay. I gotta say, I personally don't like this Batman voice actor, but I mean, I don't know. I just feel like he's very stiff and like, I don't know.
It took some getting used to because nobody is ever going to be Kevin Conroy.
No, no, but I mean, I love Karen Conroy, but also like there's other great voice actors as well, like Bruce Greenwood, great actor from Under the Red Hood. He's really great. I love him. And Young Justice. But yeah, I do agree with Cyber. Like there's some that I like, and then there's some I they're weak and it's not that bad, And I agree also with Nation. It's better than Justice League War. I mean, first off, you're not dealing with cosmic things in this movie, where you're dealing with more like supernatural and like more like action, like samurai or like martial arts kind of style that fits well with Batman. And I think this animation does a kind of okay job. So let's get into the movie itself. So we begin with like just right at the back, go into the League of Assassins, their headquarters. So we see here Damon and Wayne doing some training, and Laura, like we're seeing Ray's army getting kind of trained here, where like Rachel Gu is grooming Damon and Wayne, aka the young son of the daughter of Talia and Batman, to exceed him to take over the League of Assassins. So everyone wants to know Rachel Gu is a top tier Batman villain. Who is a supernatural, kind of like a James Bond villain, but with supernatural elements. And so, and of course, he uses the last respite that kind of gives him immortality, but there's side effects with the last respite. And so, unfortunately, he cannot use it too much. And he knows that one day he will die. So he needs someone like an heir to take over the League of Assassins and, marry Talia. And so that's where Batman comes in to a lot of the classic Dennis O'Neil, Neil Adams storylines. If you read that, up to the modern times, where you see here with Grant Morrison, it's always the same thing here. So he hopes for that, but obviously Batman doesn't agree with the philosophy of Ra's al Ghul. So he gets Damian here, and that's a good accessor for him because Damian is trained by him. He is following his motivations, like his worldview of like taking down the society. But while this is happening, the League is ambushed by a group of assassins led by Slade Wilson, of all people. Slade Wilson, aka Deathstroke, one of the badass assassins in the DC universe. So apparently Ra's al Ghul initially chose him as the assessor before Damian's birth, but because Damian was born, Slade Wilson was very angry and like pretty much is now going to attack and take over League of Assassins by force. And so we see that here, like the whole like compound here is kind of like attacked by Slade Wilson. By the way, just to note that he still has his two eyes. Famously, this character has like just the one eye, which we get kind of like a brief origin here, actually. So everyone is like gunning down here. By the way, just note, how the hell did the ninjas get defeated by these people? Like, I get they're assassins. Like, the assassins can like use their swords to block the bullets, like Deadpool way. And I don't know how these League assassins are like the top assassins. Like, you can easily kill these pardon my French, motherfuckers. But we don't see that at all in this sequence of the League assassins. So Ra's is protecting Damian. He tells Damian to like go with his mother to like be protected, not get into the action here. So of course Ra's meets up with Deathstroke and they have a fight, and unfortunately Ra's gets killed. Ra's is kind of like fairly injured by Slade by fire, dying before he can heal his injuries with the Lazarus Pit, which cannot heal him with that amount of damage. So pretty much Ra's is completely dead, which I was kind of shocked they did. So after that, Slade, Dame comes to save Ra's, but so those two kind of went up each other, and so here Damian takes out Slade's eye, was it right eye, and so he gets kind of injured, and so he leaves the compound and like escapes, but he tells Damian that it's not over yet. So after they encounter, Damian is trying to like take Ra's to the Lazarus Pit, but Tyler stops him because of the injuries are too severe, and so pretty much they cannot like revive him again. So he is completely dead in this DC continuity. So after the incident, Talia takes Damian to Gotham City to meet his father, and to remain his care. So let me stop there. Let me start with you, Jeremiah. What you thought about this beginning part up to Talia takes Damian to Batman? What you thought about this opening sequence?
This was a reminder. The entire opening sequence, this whole first scene, was a reminder of what I had said earlier. The storytelling is just so much tighter in DC animated films. They get right to it. I do have a major bone of contention with this movie, and that is because they do one of my favorite characters dirty the entire movie. Deathstroke is not supposed to be a League of Assassin trained. He was supposed to be a super soldier mercenary. And I know that they needed to make the Deathstroke Robin rivalry personal, and they needed to do it in this continuity in this specific way, because Deathstroke is more of a Robin Teen Titans villain. Whether it's Dick Grayson in the late 1970s or early 1980s, or Tim Drake versus Teen Titans and Teen Titans Go, or right here against Damian Wayne, Deathstroke is the main guy facing him down, making his life difficult. And that's in every continuity. This was just the way of engaging this rivalry in this continuity by having Damian Wayne be the one to take the eye of Deathstroke and sort of I'll see you next time, kid kind of nonsense. I thought that was very well done. I was very happy that even though it wasn't the Deathstroke that I like, it was a different Deathstroke. It was really nice to see Deathstroke versus Ra's al Ghul one-on-one. In any comic forum, that's a title fight. That's a close match whenever you want to go ahead and have that debate. That was good to see right out of the gate. I was also very surprised that Ra's al Ghul did not survive past the first scene. That really raised the stakes for me early in this first, 10 minutes of a scene. And you described a lot happened in these 10 minutes. And if you were worried about these ninjas, they were not being up to snuff, Andres. They were being attacked by Deathstroke and Ubu, and they seemed to have been defectors. So they were probably also ninja trained, but they were ninja trained with machine guns as well. And I'm not really sure how well ninjas would do against modern, U.S. military attack helicopters and storming. I don't know. You might have a lot of faith in ninjas, but I really think that modern tech and modern weapons and modern training would run.
Yeah, okay. You got a good point, Jeremiah. I seen the League of Assassins had guns before, but I don't know. Some versions, Brothercon News, League of Assassins use weapons, but I don't know. Oh, and speaking of Ra's al Ghul, speaking of cast, I cannot believe the person that voiced Ra's al Ghul was from Breaking Bad.
Giancarlo
Esposito.
Gustavo Fring from Breaking Bad.
Yeah, I was like, why do you waste him? He's such a good choice for Ra's al Ghul. I just love him. I didn't mind his casting. I thought he really felt like Ra's. But yeah, so that's my thoughts. Jeff, what do you thought about the opening here? Up to Taya took Damien, took Gotham. What's your thoughts on the opening?
I don't know much about that Talia character. That's a new character to me. You know what I'm saying? I think I've seen her in maybe one other DC animated film, maybe one time or something like that. Or maybe I was watching a Batman TV show or something like that, and I saw her in a Batman TV show or something. I'm not sure, but I've seen her before. Did we do another DC animated film where she was in it?
She was in the live action movie of Dark Knight Rises. She was the twist with Bane. That was the other time. I don't know DC animation we saw Tyler. Jeremiah, I don't know.
So the only thing, Jeff, she was represented pretty accurately from her comic portrayal to this. I think that this was very representative of who that character is.
Well, that's great. But no, so I'm just saying that's a new character for me. So that's one of those components, like I was mentioning, where if you don't have any background, with Batman, it's tough coming in, knowing who is that. You know what I mean? I didn't know Ra's al Ghul had a daughter or whatever, and so she was pretty dope in the battle. Her fighting and everything and all that was pretty sick. When she picked up the gun and started shooting down the helicopters and shit like that, and picked up the bow and arrow and took down the helicopter and everything, that was pretty sick. And this was rated R type violence, you know what I'm saying? It was really, violent. This opening, 10-minute intro, there's a lot of blood, there's a lot of sword on person killing, especially with Ra's al Ghul, he's just cutting everybody up, so yeah, it's an interesting introduction. It's well put together for what it is, you know what I mean? And it sets a good pace for the film, as far as establishing kind of I guess, the premise of the story, you know what I mean? If you want to put it that way. Yeah, it's good. It's a good opening battle sequence or whatever, and I thought that it was animated okay. And as far as Ra's al Ghul dying, I didn't really care either way. It was kind of whatever, yeah, that's it.
No, I understand. I mean, if you haven't seen,
I was more interested with the pool thing, like the rejuvenation pool. Again,
Yeah.
if you don't, I don't know nothing about that. Like I didn't know that Raja Ghul had that. You know what I'm saying? So like, that was a new thing for me.
Yeah, no, I understand, Jeff. I understand. Yeah, that's the thing about the Dark Knight trilogy that they kind of left out was like a lot of the supernatural things with Raish, which I understand. Like you're trying to get away from the like really glazy, over the top stuff that happened with Batman Forever and Batman Robin, and so I understand that Christopher Nolan had to like keep it grounded in reality and blah blah blah. Like I was like, that's one of the things I like about Raish, is the supernatural thing. Saber, what you thought about the opening sequence up to, Tyler taking Damon to Gotham?
So, just like Jeff, I enjoyed the action at the beginning of the scene, getting see Raja Ghul fighting with Deathstroke. That was really fun. I think it was bloody-tastic. As Jeff was mentioned, there was a lot of blood, which, you don't see very often in PG-13 animated films. So it was nice to see that, to show kind of a little bit of, I would say, the show, you're killing somebody, you're injuring somebody. So it kind of shows that there by giving that blood, because there's several, PG-13 films I've seen over the years, animated or unanimated, and like people get shot and there's no blood, and it's just like, huh? Like, if you got shot by a gun, you'd be bleeding to some sort of extent, So I think that, it's nice to see that, because then it gives it kind of more of an adult feel, adult edge. And that's what this, kind of this Son of Batman gives you. It gives you more of a adult edge versus the other previous, some of the different animated films have given us, up to this point. Now, this is the 20th film in the DCU animated universe. This is our 20th film that we're reviewing. And I think that, out of, the 20 that we've seen so far, this one, I think this beginning is, I think, really decent. I really like the action in it. Now, if you get off strong with some action, it's really going to pull you in. And I think they did a really good job there. So I think this beginning is very interesting, simply the fact that it gives you lots of great action, and you got the death of Raja Ghul, which sucks, which, you're kind of rooting for him in this, especially because, you got Slade coming in and causing havoc. So I was kind of sad that they killed him off, because I think that's a great character. They should have kept him around. But like I said, Talia, as Mr. Jeremiah mentioned, she's a very comic book accurate version of her, which I would agree. I think it's probably one of the, like I said, I think the most accurate female portrayals I've seen in animated film in these 20 films, and definitely the most aggressive on cleavage for this character. So I think it's done really well. So yeah, I think that once again, I think definitely that animation out of all the animation in this has been the standout. And how kind of Talia treats Batman's son, I think it's kind of cracks me up, because she's like very not motherly, and which you would expect that from Talia, because who her father is and everything like that. So it's not shocking, but at the same time, it's just kind of like, man, like, kind of show your son some support here, a little bit, but at the same time, it's like, I get it. But yeah, I think it's a very solid opening, good action, and leads us into getting into the meat of the story.
Thank you, Cyber. Yes,
Cyber makes really good points on that one. And appreciate you, Cyber. There really is a nice adult tone to this film. In juxtaposition to maybe the last couple ones that we reviewed up until this one. This one really had like an adult edge to it, which I really appreciated.
And I'm going to piggyback the compliment train right there with Jeff. You also bring up a lot of important points that I didn't realize. I know that in the dialogue, very quickly, because they're very concise, and they are very direct with their dialogue. And I know they did very briefly describe the relationship with Ra's al Ghul and Talia and Batman and Damian, and talk about the Lazarus Pit. But you made an incredible point as far as, if you don't have a basic background in Batman, at least like a passing familiarity with a lot of these characters, this is going to go by really quick and it's going to get real confusing fast for you. One thing that I forgot to mention, you mentioned the Lazarus Pit. They put a lot of restraints and a lot of limits on what the Lazarus Pit can and can't do in this film. They are very explicit about that. In ways they really haven't been, at least in live action or animated anything. There was a couple things else I wanted to say, Jeff, but I wanted to make sure that I said that. You're right. Oh, that's what it is. I know that it went by quickly, and I know that you needed a familiarity with Batman, but I will gladly take this level of speed and directness over watching his origin story in that alley again. I cannot watch his parents get shot again. We all know how it happened. And it seems like it's either we see that happen one more time to Thomas and Martha. Why'd you say that name? Or we get something like this where you need to know a lot more in order to keep up with it, like what you pointed out already.
No, I agree. Isn't as bad as Superman. Like they it's either do origin story or Kryptonians or Lex Luthor. But I understand. I think this is a good sequence to understand the whole history. I appreciate that we don't have an origin story here with this new continuity, so that's really good. And speaking of Batman, let's get into it. So we come now to Gotham City, where Batman. Well, first off, our first person here is Killer Croc, which is kind of cool. I love Killer Croc, great character. Here we see like the more reptilian Killer Croc. He's stealing some sort of like drugs here. Batman kind of like is trying to stop him from this like robbery, and we see like a really good chase between him and Killer Croc and how powerful Croc is now. And so after he almost thinks he's gonna eat him, Taya saves him from Croc, and pretty much Taya takes him to be up with Damian in a yacht, explaining that Raish is dead. The Slave Wilson is kind of taking over the lead assassin, so she's trying to rebuild it or like take down him, and so that's what happened. And so after she leaves, the aggressively, highly independent Damian like just frankly disobeys Batman's orders in the attempt to avenge Raish himself. This section here is like really funny. You see like this is definitely directly adapting the Batman son. If you haven't read the story here, like you see Damian interact the Batman stuff and Bruce Wayne stuff, and like reacting with Afrin, which I really like. And another great casting for Afrin by the late great David Mikkel, who played the Russian agent from The Man from U.N.C.L.E. And obviously, if you're like me, I know him from as Ducky from NCIS, the CBS show. So he is great Afrin voice, and I really like that you see Damian reacting to him. They have a really great rapport. I like how sarcastic Afrin is towards Damian. I really like that. And then you see how efficient, how really well trained Damian is in this section here. He knows everything about Batman. He knows how to operate the Batcave. All the tech, the stuff, which is really good. And then obviously in terms of fighting skills, you see him very good with the sword, as he's kind of like literally mowing down the that poor garden there. And I really like how Afrin replied to like, we don't need was it Guardian service at all this month because of what Damian did. And then we don't get briefly Bruce Wayne. We just really focus on the Batman persona here. So we briefly get to Wayne Enterprises. You see Bruce Wayne, his persona here, but Damian escaped from the Wayne Manor, and he is there, trying to kind of find where, information about Raish here. And then you see here, like he's also good with the money, like he really knows economics. So this section is really nice. And then the same time here, we get reintroduced again with Slade, now calling himself Deathstroke. Speaking of Jeremiah, it's good that you brought up the other the assassin character I remember was Uba or Ubu. Yeah, Ubu. He is like a former assistant of Reishigo. He used to be a loyal henchman, but he betrayed him working with Deathstroke. And you see Deathstroke and Ubu capturing Dr. Kirk Landstrom and his family, a scientist. Everyone, if you're a big Batman fan like me, Jeremiah, or like anyone in the Batman stuff, you know that Dr. Kirk Landstrom is Man-Bat. Of course, another top tier Batman Rose Gallery, created by Frank Robinson and of course drawn by Neil Adams. And it's forced Kirk to do something for him. We don't know what. And so, he was a scientist that previously worked with Raish about some secret project, and now Deathstroke is taking over here. So let me stop there. Let me get to Saber. Saber, what you thought about seeing Batman full action, him taking down Croc, and then up to, I think, the part where Slade and Ubu taking Dr. Kurt Legstrom and his family capture and force him to do something evil. Go ahead. You're sorry. You're next.
Me?
Yeah.
Moi?
Yes.
I got lost in or something. Sorry.
No,
Anyway,
it's okay.
what was the question?
So up to Batman, seeing Batman for the first time, up to Deathstroke capturing Dr. Landstrom's family and forcing him to do something for him.
So, to be honest, after we get done with that first action sequence, it kind of gets a little dull until we get more action in this thing. And I think that during this portion, Destro, I think, was probably one of my favorite characters. I think he definitely was fun, and I liked how he was portrayed. I thought his look was pretty on point, and I just thought that his performance in the animation was done well. But most part here, the introduction of Batman meeting his son and stuff like that, it was okay. I mean, we had we get Nightwing, though this kind of stuff, and I was just kind of like, they could have portrayed these a little better. I just wasn't, there was nothing about it that really drawed me in after that first sequence, unfortunately. And I was kind of like, I'm like, okay, until we get to like another kind of like action sequence, because I felt like the in-between stuff, it just did not, I feel it didn't, play right for me. It didn't pull me in or entertain me, because I felt like the writing kind of was like, so here's this, and then let's put this here and then try to twist it, but yet let's not answer that. And so it just didn't, it like, unfortunately just was kind of boring to me. So it's too bad that it was, like that. But at the same time, anytime an action sequence would come up, it'd be fantastic. And I think one of the best parts, during kind of that battle sequence, like right after this, introducing Batman, stuff like that, Dick getting all screwed up and stuff like that. I thought that was done well. I liked that. I thought it was decently done. But I'm like totally drawing a blank. Like I kind of like lose it there. You say go up to Destro.
Yeah, Deathstroke capturing the family.
Family.
Okay. Yeah.
Yeah, so point. I mean, Commissioner Gordon, I think that scene's pretty decently done. I thought the voiceover of Commissioner Gordon wasn't too bad. I thought that it did a good job. And just like, Jeff was mentioned earlier, I think that the guy that voiced Batman in this wasn't too bad. I thought his voice was pretty decent, And I think there's some really great kind of like banter between Nightwing and Robin, or the son of Batman. Because it's funny to call him Robin, because in the comics I feel like the original iteration of Robin was not the son of Batman. He was this other guy that happened to work with Batman. So calling him Robin kind of cracks me up a little bit. But anyways, I think that their banter between each other is pretty funny a little bit, especially that beginning sequence when they get to the Batcave and he's being stitched up, and he comes in, David comes in and is like, gives him like crap and stuff like that, and he's like, ah! I think that was pretty funny. But the capturing with Deathstroke, I thought was pretty decent. I thought that worked out well. I thought that the action in that sequence was fun. And I just think overall this section didn't do anything really for me. But overall, I think there was some decent action in between here that kept me wanting to go through the film. And even this second time around watching it, I still had the exact same feeling I did the first time I watched this. So I think that's interesting. Sometimes movies will change and alter as you age or since the last time you saw it. But this one did not do that for me. It stayed exactly the same. So I was shocked by that, actually.
Yeah. No, I agree. Yeah, the talking scenes are like so exposition because you're trying to get to know, Batman, despite Batman who he is, but like, like his relationship with, Afrin and of course Nightwing. That's another thing. Like if you don't know Robin in general, it's like, okay, who's Nightwing? Is like he's the first Robin who just gradually became a new, superhero. It's like especially you don't know, like he's also part of the Teen Titans, which we're gonna get in this new series we're gonna review, in the MCU Edge. But yeah, it's like a lot to just keep up. So Jeremiah, what do you thought about this section here? Let me go in depth here, meeting Batman for the first time, seeing Robin interact with like the Bat family, Alfred, Nightwing, and then up to the point where Slade, the end point is where Slade captured Dr. Kirk Langstrom's family.
Okay, so I want to make sure, because Langstrom and his family was taken by Slade before Talia's assault and before we've seen Nightwing.
Yeah, it's before.
Yeah, Cyber went out a little bit ahead. He fast forwarded a little bit ahead of us. All right, so Batman vs. Croc. They talk about whatever pharmaceuticals or mutagenics that Croc is taking. The funny thing, and the only thing I could think of, was that when you upgrade Killer Croc, you get the Spider-Man villain, the Lizard. He adds a tail, he gets a crisper color green, and it starts having that protruded face. You start looking like the Lizard. You start looking like Kurt Connors. It was fine. Talia goes ahead and saves him with the taser, and then literally dumps the kid. Talia dumps the kid on Bruce Wayne. The opinion that I had of Kurt Langstrom, I mean, I knew who he was because I watched the Batman animated series. I know who Kurt Langstrom is. I know I'm going to see some Man-Bat action later on. But again, this is another one. I'm going to go ahead and I have to nod to Jeff on this. If I didn't know who this guy was, I would have zero context about what he was working on or where the plot was going. There was a lot. And the more that I think about it, the more that I'm having a hard time seeing how somebody who doesn't have background would have been able to keep up with this and really enjoy it for what it was. Because knowing what I know, when I see characters like that and I hear that name, I know what I'm in for, and I have a chance to get excited about it. When Damian was trying to fit in at the Batcave and in the Wayne Tower office, there was plenty of dialogue and interaction that I'm sure probably would have blown by people. Like the way that Cyber was describing Damian Wayne being Robin and it not being that way the fact that, you know, Nightwing exists means that it was the way that you remember it correctly. It's just that this is a further along in the life span of Bruce Wayne, where that Robin had already outgrown him. And I think, you know, you get that because not only do we see Nightwing later beyond the point that we're talking right now, but, you know, Damian is walking past the glass cases and he looks at the Robin costume and he makes a couple of snide comments about it. Now, to be fair, when I saw the Robin costume in the glass case, my first thought was, here we go. We get to hear about the late, great Jason Todd one more time, and then we're going to have to deal with that. But they skipped all that. Not nary a mention of Jason Todd. So I'm happy that we didn't have to work with that. Him breaking into Wayne Tower, that was good. I enjoyed that. That was funny. Langstrom being taken by Slade. This was just more of me being disappointed in Deathstroke not being the character that I loved. This was only 25 minutes into the movie. So I was still reconciling with the fact that I wasn't getting the Deathstroke that I wanted. And I hadn't exactly gotten over that part emotionally. So I was still a little bitter seeing him not be the one that I wanted him to be. Yeah, outside of that, like I'm ready for us to talk about that Talia assault that comes, because that's another brutal thing that happens. I'm going to pass it back off.
Thank you, Jeremiah. Really like your insight, sir. This is another thing. I was very surprised about this. Just briefly talk about it is the whole other Robins. Like the fact that they skipped Jason and Tim, Tim Drake, the third one. Of course, there's going to be a battle thing with a lot of these like live action and animation about like, okay, are we going to that Jason Todd, because of the, him dying. And then, of course, later resurrecting from the dead, obviously we all reviewed Under the Hood. And of course, you brought up Batman animated series. They didn't do Jason Todd. Instead, they skipped Tim, combined Jason to Tim, to become this like amalgamation. So I was very surprised this movie did that. But
surprised but grateful. Again, this was the second time. This was the second time, not just the Batman origin story where Thomas and Martha get gunned down in the alley, but oh no, I feel so bad. One of the Robins died. Joker beat him with a crowbar. We get to hear him complain about that all the time. We got spared that as well. Yeah. That is the second brooding, agonizingly retold Batman story that we did not have to endure in this one. I'm grateful for that.
I agree too. I don't think they're gonna do Death in the Family in this kind of movie. Anyway, Jeff, your thoughts on seeing Batman for the first time and then like him meeting up with Damian and seeing like Damian interact with the Batman family, Alfred and then Nightwing I
was gonna say Cyber already brought up Nightwing and everything now, so like I gotta go into that territory. But I really like Killer Croc. That's an identifiable DC villain that I know, you know what I mean? So like seeing him is great, that's a tough opponent for Batman, right? Because I mean he's so big and strong, you know what I'm saying? But their fight was pretty solid, it was realistic as far as Batman being the weaker of the two. You know what I mean? I felt like it was very realistic, and Batman would have died. He would have got eaten if not for Talia. Talia saved his life. So I really don't. The Damian Wayne kid is arrogant as fuck. Like he's very dislikable as a character. So I didn't care that much for him and his scenes with Alfred and everything and all that and at the manor and all that, he knows everything. He hacks all the computers, all that shit. I I don't know how I felt about Deathstroke overall. Like throughout the film, he seemed okay. You know, I don't know a lot about Deathstroke, so you know, I mean, I liked him. He was all right as like the main villain, I guess. You know, but you know, at that point, hasn't Talia already been grabbed up by now?
We're getting to there right now.
Oh, okay. All right.
Yeah.
So seeing Nightwing was dope. I was like, oh, okay, I know who Nightwing is. You know what I mean? So like that was dope. When I saw Nightwing, I was all about it. I would have liked to have seen the fight between him and Damian where he like beat Damian's ass, you know, because that's what happened. So you know what I'm saying? Yeah, that was crazy. But like Cyber said, some of the banter scenes, like, you know, like in between the action, right? We're we're a little bit off sometimes, it felt like. You know, some of the dialogue scenes, you know, like we're a little bit off kilter. You know, I didn't really like the mix between Dick and Damien together. I didn't like them together.
Yeah, no, I kind of agreed. I mean, because in the, you know, when we get into the plot of the villain, it's the difference from that in the comic book, because Tim Drake was still the Robin during the continuity, and he's the one to interact Damien in the comic book, not Dick, because Dick was still at the Titans, I think, or you know, wherever he was at that point of the DC continuity. Yeah, then you know, Jeff, you brought up the Damien personality. It's not like, because he's not a normal kid, he's this like trained Terminator kid where he's like no nonsense, just like Batman. So it's very like so like not a fun personality. Like if he was like a mix of Deadpool or like Deadpool meets, you know, Robin, it could have been fun. Like he's like jokey, but then he has this like violent tendency that Batman has to like, okay, kid, you need to calm yourself by killing people, you know? It could have been interesting, but because he's like this no nonsense kid, like he's dead serious, you know, like dead serious, like I'm on a mission, you know, all that. It's like so boring to you know, to hear sometimes from this kid. And so it's just like very nerving. So let's get into Ty. So after the family, you know, gets captured, you know, Slade goes back to this location we don't know. This is where Tyler gets captured. So Tyler and her army of League Assassins tried to, you know, attack Slade, but it failed. So Slade captures her, and like throughout the film, we see her like get beaten and like get tortured by Slade for like information or I don't know, like something like that. But it's a good way for him to like lure Damien out and like come to get him, right, and get to the mom. So after Tyler gets captured, we go back again where, you know, Commissioner Gordon warns Batman about a abandoned stadium believed to house Deathstroke's men. So we get here, and then after, after now, Damien, it has become the new Robin. You see him wearing the costume and the hood and all that you see from the comic books. So the new thematic duo infiltrate the stadium. Batman Damien attempt to question Landstrom.
They interrogate Croc too. Don't forget.
Oh yes. Sorry about that. Sorry about that. A lot of things. So before, you know, I think Gordon tells Batman about the stadium, we go to Arkham Bleefree. We see some cameos like, you know, Joker, the Laugh, and then we see Bleefree, Two-Face, and then of course they talk to Croc, and like, you know, he knows, like Batman knows that it's Landstrom, like kind of like mutate him into this like reptilian state, and so he gets the information, and this is where we kind of get into the abandoned stadium here. Thank you, Jeff, for reminding me of the Arkham Asylum thing, because I totally blanked that. Another thing, you know, if you're a Batman fan, you know the Arkham Asylum thing. So they were trying to attempt to question, like Batman and Robin now are attempting to question Landstrom about the plan that Deathstroke has, but he initially refused to leave as Deathstroke is holding, you know, the family, you know, as hostages, right? But Damien becomes violently impatient, and like he like stupidly inverts like alerts the enemy to their revival. So now like the group is confronted by a bunch of ninjas, and so despite overcoming that, they like come out to like the outside stadium, like you see the football or the soccer, whatever. They're there, but they, excuse me, they see like they hear something like hissing, and then they look up and there's like a swarm of bats, like literally army of swarm of man bats here, and then they get attacked with them, and they stop them from like attacking Gotham basically. So they kind of neutralize the attack from the man bats. And this is where Damian stops Landstrom, and then he explains now part of Deathstroke's plan is to create superhuman flying assassins. So okay, and then Batman takes Landstrom to the Batcave, and he works closely to Nightwing to like work with Landstrom on the antidote for man bats to revert back to humans. So just before I wrap up, I just want to bring up the plot here. In the comic book here, Talia is the main villain for Batman's Son. She's the one that makes the plans to make the super army of man bats. If you haven't read the comic book. So it's not Deathstroke. Deathstroke is not in that storyline. Oh, this is a kind of like a new thing for this movie to kind of like revamp or like change up the storyline here. So because initially Talia was the main villain for the storyline, she's the one that like wants to create the superhuman flying assassins from the original comic. So anyway, just need to bring that up for those like want to know that there's a difference or like similar thing from the comic. No, it's very different. So, so now Batman and Damian set off to rescue, Landstrom's family in the castle that Talia gets captured. And while that happens, Damian gets a phone by the daughter, and he gets the message from Deathstroke that he has his mom, and he needs to go alone to meet him up with this location that, Damian does know. And then this is where I'm going to end, where Batman is talking to Nightwing how is the process of the antidote going, and is doing well, but he seduced that Talia has been abducted, and that he realized that Damon is relayed her location through the ransom video given to Landstrom's daughter. So let me stop there. Let me go to Jeff. Jeff, what do you thought about Talia being captured here, up to Batman realizing Robin has left to like meet up with Talia? What do you thought about this section here?
Not much really, I mean, I really liked the interrogation of Killer Croc. I love Batman ripping off his tail and all that shit. Like, that was really dope, I like that. I don't know, I mean, Damian jumping in as Robin was cool, I guess, he looked good, and all that, you know what I'm saying? But I was thinking to myself, like, is that really the best decision for Batman to make? You know what I mean? Like, I don't really know, so, I mean, overall, seeing Talia's titties when she's getting interrogated by, Deathstroke was nice. I enjoyed that. And, we're going to the part where, like, they actually go to, like, save Talia, right?
Yeah, before they rescue Talia.
Yeah. The man. I don't really know what I think about the man bats that they fight and all that shit. That was kind of dumb. I thought that was kind of stupid, to be honest with you. Like, man bats, like, seriously. But besides that, that's pretty much it. I don't have much on that part, really.
Okay. Yeah. I understand the man bats thing. Like, I don't know why Deathstroke wants to like copy Rage to like do the plan. That doesn't make like why you just send regular assassins. But anyway, Saber, sir, let me get to you, sir. What you thought about Talia, the beautiful cleavage version here being captured by Deathstroke, up to Damian getting the phone from the daughter that like he discovered that his mom is captured. Go ahead, sir.
So pretty much same thing with this section. Nothing really that really pulled me in very much. I mean, pretty much what goes on in this sequence. We already mentioned the Commissioner Gordon thing, the capturing of Dr. Kirk Langstrom. We have I think one of the most interesting parts of the sequence is what everyone else has mentioned about the cameos from other DC villains, which was fun. The Man Bat thing, I have to agree with Jeff. That was fucking stupid as hell. I think that in a certain situation, the Man Bats would have been cool, but in this instance, I don't think they really played any of the relevance to that. And I think that once again, Deathstroke's characterization throughout this so far in this sequence here, I think it's pretty decent. How he's treating Talia and stuff like that, and how he's like trying to get information out of her and stuff. Tormenting her and stuff. I thought he does a really good job giving that really good enemy vibe. Of course, through this whole section, just Damien just irritates the hell out of me. I would want to slap the kid and be like, chill out, man. You're driving me nuts. Like, I know we haven't spent much time together, but Jesus Christ, kid, sit your ass down, kind of deal. And throughout this whole movie, unfortunately, Damien is just one of those characters that I just do not like. He just kind of irritates me. And so this sequence, he really gets on my nerves with this whole like going out on his own type of deal thing, him getting violently impatient and stuff like that. So, I that just really irks me throughout this whole section. But overall, I mean, the sequence, like I said, I think that is the best of those cameos. The Killer Croc, I didn't mention earlier. I think the Killer Croc sequence was really great. That was fantastic. I always love seeing Killer Croc. He's a great character from DC. Anytime we get to see one of these great kind of like creature type of animated characters, or just creature characters from the DC universe or MCU or whatever, kind of universe, is always fun. Go King Shark, Killer Croc himself, these types of characters always are like my favorite type of characters to watch because they're just so cool. Because what's better than a great creature feature? You know what I mean? So I always enjoy these kind of characters. They're always fun. But like the plan to create a superhuman flying assassins kind of cracks me up, because I'm like, so you basically want to create more Supermans? Is that what you're telling me? Because that was my first initial thought when they were saying this, like superhuman flying assassins, and I'm like thinking to myself, I'm like, so basically you want to get ninja versions of Superman? And I thought that was kind of funny, and I kind of cracked me up, and I was kind of like, huh? Superman ninja? I'm like, okay, if that's what you want to create, cool. Which I thought was just once again just super hilarious to me. I don't know why. It kind of cracks me up to see Superman doing like ninja work, kind of like when they did Batman Ninja. Seeing Superman do that, I think that would be hilarious. But then of course, we get the whole video ransom thing, which I thought was okay, that was interesting. The effects there, how the animation worked there, I thought were really good. And I just think that once again, this whole section, you have some okay moments, but for the most part, it's pretty just kind of like, as everyone's kind of mentioned, a lot of chit chat that just is not needed. So I think overall, it moves a story along to get you to the next section.
Thank you, Cyber. Yeah. I don't know. I mean, if I was rich, I would definitely want an army of Man-Bats just to like do things for myself, like clean the house.
All the shedding.
Yeah,
You'll be sweeping up after them.
Oh, that's true. Never mind. Anyway, good point, Jeremiah.
So, I mean, you talk about Kurt Langstrom, and you remember when I said, as a Batman fan, when I hear names like that, I know what to expect. This was the moment that I realized how wrong I was, because I expected Kurt Langstrom to become Man-Bat, which is what he's known for. He did not become Man-Bat. He just became some random scientist that got kidnapped and re-kidnapped and then politely kidnapped by Batman so that he can continue doing work, but the opposite work. It would have been the kind of creature feature that I think Cyber would have liked if we got Slade with his League of Assassin defectors versus Batman and Robin with a crazed Man-Bat also in those hallways, picking people off one after, and we would have plenty of League of Assassin ninjas for Man-Bat to absolutely brutalize, really raising the kind of danger while they were there. We didn't get that. What we got was a bunch of sword-wielding mutant monsters. And before we even get there, we had a whole bunch to lead up there. Like, there's some things that you guys missed. Like, I enjoyed Talia's assault. That was good, taken by Deathstroke. I enjoyed the Arkham cameos, the ones that you mentioned. Batman fought some busted up looking winged monkey
What's
before
that?
a drone, like a drone, blew up a building.
Mhm.
Now, I didn't fall asleep during the film and miss this. Like, I didn't like it. As far as like the lead up, it was just I couldn't follow why a monkey with wings, and why a drone blowing. Like, I must have honestly just not paid attention for like 5 minutes and I lost it. Like, that's how quick. And then 5 minutes later, that part didn't even matter because we went right to Damian taking out Ubu, beating Ubu up, the introduction of Nightwing. And you know what? I'm going to have to disagree with a lot of you guys here. I enjoy the Nightwing Damian Wayne dynamic because Nightwing can put him down and he has no emotional connection or sense of responsibility for this kid. He can do the kinds of things that Cyber only dreams of, hitting Damian Wayne. He can go ahead and tie him up and have him hanging from the light in the street. This is the part that kind of upset me. When I said the plot moves fast, the plot moves surprisingly fast. Damian Wayne went from making fun of the Robin outfit and fighting the former Robin and saying, "You're not my dad, he didn't raise me," and then all of a sudden now he's in the Robin. Wait a minute, now we're going to be together on the team. That sort of change, and I know that he's a young teenager and they change their attitudes very quickly, usually not in the way that's productive or helpful. And that was highly uncharacteristic. Meeting Gordon was cool. Rescuing Langstrom. Batman and Robin flying and saving Langstrom's family and getting that video. 58.3 degrees north, 7 degrees west. That is where Deathstroke told Damian Wayne to go. Do you know where that is? Because I looked it up.
Well, in the movie, okay. So what I follow is Batman is in London because he's taking the Landstrom family to be in Interpol.
Hold on 1 second, my headset. There we go.
Okay, sorry. So Batman takes Landstrom's family to be with Interpol in London, and then apparently the location that the oil rig that is a previous like hideout for Raish is in Sweden.
Okay.
They brought up. They say it's like close to London. So
it's Scotland.
Scotland.
Near the mountains of North Harris, Scotland.
Yeah.
And it's on an ocean rig. Because that's what we saw blowing up at the end, at least. We saw an ocean rig, at least we saw that part. But just slightly north and west of Scotland, out in the water. But I knew because I'm obsessive. I had to go. I saw coordinates. I had to go ahead and find it. But yeah, no, we're ready to head into that last main fight. I'm excited for that.
Yeah, thank you, Jeremiah. No, thank you, Jeremiah, for bringing up that like weird like bat, like monkey bat.
Yeah, did you remember that part? Like,
I do remember.
Do you remember that scene?
I didn't know what the fuck was going on with that.
Yeah. I didn't forget it. It's just like that's what I mean. Really bad exposition, or like not telling your audience what was going on. So Batman investigates that warehouse that like Landstrom was at, and he finds that Deathstroke is like he's been there. It's like we know that Deathstroke is the main villain. Like we know that.
Yeah.
You know, so like we don't need that scene. Like we just need the scene where Commissioner Gordon, or like that scene where, like, as you brought up before, Jeremiah, that I forgot that Ubu got attacked by Damien. That was more important because that led to something, to the stadium or whatnot. You know, I don't. That scene was weird. Like, I don't know. It was just another way to tell that, like, oh, like he's making man-bat experiments. By like Landstrom. And it's like if you know man bat, it's like, yeah, of course, Landstrom experiments man bat stuff all the time. It's like it's not a brainer. So I don't know. I feel like the tone was weird. As Cyber brought up before, and as you brought up before, Jeremiah, like if this was more like a horror driven Batman movie, then it's fine. But this movie is more action, like, James Bond like level Batman movie. It's not a horror movie, so it just feels really out of place with this film.
Yeah. You could have gotten so much more by doing so much less. One man bat.
Yeah.
As opposed to a bunch of ninja man bats and one confused winged gorilla.
Yeah. I felt so bad for that thing to die. I really do. I was like, why we had to kill it?
I'm glad they put it out of my misery.
Well, let's get into like the final act. Thank you, Jeremiah. I really appreciate that. Thank you for bringing up the points that I missed. I totally forgot about that, like that weird thing. But yeah. Anyway, so while Batman deduced that Robin left, and Nightwing learns that Destro is operating the oil rig off the Scottish coast. Basically, we just like talked about this now. Damian goes to the rig alone to rescue his mother, Talia. He finds her in the underwater base with a swarm of man bats. So as we discussed before, I don't know why Deathstroke wants this, like the army of swarm man bats. Like, just use Landstrom as man bat. Like, one man bat works than 1,000. I don't know why. Anyway, but also we see another Lazarus pit here. So very interesting. Which Deathstroke is attempt to sell for profit. That's what he say. Like, I guess apparently he say he's gonna profit the Lazarus pit or something like that. I don't know. So that was weird when he say that. But it does set up his return, because he does return later on in the DC canon, which I'm not going to tell what movie, but yeah, that sets up the return of Deathstroke here. So Deathstroke attempts to kill Damian. We see like a fight between him and Damian, but the movie, so he has Talia. So Deathstroke, before he kind of gets back, like to get Talia, Deathstroke has the gun. They were having like a skady like face off. And so Damian drops the gun, and then Deathstroke gonna shoot him, but Talia like shields her from the gunshot, and she's now wounded. Batman arrives on time. Finally, he assists and heals Talia in the Lazarus pit. So like she's now just like her father, immortal. Same time, while we see here Nightwing and like Landstrom carry the man bats here, and this was funny. I don't know if you guys laughed at this. It was funny to see Landstrom like saying like, "Take that, your ugly man bat like army." It was like very funny to see Landstrom like attacking his creations with the cure, and you see a bunch of them dropping to the water, and they're all humans. So then we see like this very, like, I gotta admit, a very cinematic finale. I'm gonna just wrap up the finale here. Like, this is basically the end of the movie here, but like, so Batman, Robin, aka Damian Wayne, has this like long, like very good cinematic battle with Deathstroke. Like jumping around here, seeing the swords here. By the way, I do agree with Jeff. Like, this is a very hard kind of, despite it's PG-13, it's very hard. Like the fact that we see bloods, but also seeing like very brutal attacks between these two characters. Like the fact that Deathstroke like pins Damian with the knives, like in his, and then you see Damian cut off from it, like was really brutal. And then after the brutal battle, Damian managed to defeat Deathstroke. This time being smart, he like like it's around this like liquid acid thing or whatever. And so of course Destro, being stupid he puts the sword in the like liquid thing, acid, whatever, and he gets kind of like severely burned. And he's now weakened. But Damien kind of learns something, I guess, in this movie. Instead of killing him, he refuses to kill him. So, because he does not want his father could do, you know. So, like, it implies now he is taking his father's, like, philosophy of not killing. And as everyone knows, Batman has a no kill rule thing, which I'm very happy that movie knows about, because that's been kind of glossy sometimes in the Batman movies, particularly the Michael Keaton, you know, the Joel Schumacher films. Well, mostly the Tim Burton ones, but like whatever, you know. But thankfully they have the here, and like Batman has no kill rule here, and so like Damien is like going to follow that, which is great. Yeah. So after that, the underwater base, however, is destroyed. It gets kind of like demolished because of the disoriented bats break the glass, and like, you know, the elevator shaft, and like completely flooded the whole operation. So like Batman, Talia, and Damien escape to safety, and then we see an unconscious Deathstroke is left behind. We don't know what happened. So we don't know what his fate is. So presumably he could come back or not, but we'll see. And discussing, you know, after that, you know, we see Batman and Talia discussing what to do with Damien now that Deathstroke has been neutralized. Batman believes that Damien should remain with him as Robin, while Talia wishes to recreate the League with both of them at her side, which, of course, if you're a Batman fan, it's like Batman's not going to take your offer, Talia. Okay, he doesn't want to lead the League Assassins. He doesn't want to kill people. You know that. So you know she's like very disappointed. So you know Talia allows Damien to stay in Gotham with his father, but states her intention to return for him someday. And that's the end of the movie. And I'm just adding this in. I'm just adding this in because I just realized in my notes there was a credits, like an end credits, or I don't know, like a credits that showed the fight between Damien and Nightwing. That was the scene that we didn't see where, you know, Nightwing neutralized Damien when he was almost trying to kill Ubu. So let me stop there. Let me go with you, Jeremiah. What you thought about the whole finale? Well, you liked it? What's your thoughts on it? What's the pros and cons? Go ahead.
All right, so I'm glad, you know, Robin tried to fly off and save mommy. This was again the moment that they talked about the limits of the Lazarus pit. Obviously can't bring you back from decapitation. The damage would be too severe, etc. I had a real problem at the end here because there was a moment in which Batman beat Deathstroke like he owed him money.
Yeah,
and
he beat his ass. He beat
yeah,
the fuck out of him.
he beat him down fast. So the reason why this upsets me, I know Deathstroke, like I said, is a favorite of mine, but there was a series in the 90s. Deathstroke had like his own comic, and it was like comic 3 or 4 where he just absolutely pounds Batman with no problem, because he is a super soldier, you know, and Batman just either wasn't expecting it or whatever was going on with that. But yeah, I mean, it seemed very anticlimactic for Robin, Damian Wayne, to beat Deathstroke when Batman slapped him to pieces only minutes before. This is why I don't like Deathstroke being misused. I think taking the main villain and having Batman slap him around was not the best way to go, because I enjoyed the Damian Wayne Deathstroke fight. I thought it was beautifully done. I thought it was rough and aggressive, and Deathstroke broke Robin's arm in one of those really quick elbow strikes. And yeah, he pinned him against the wall, whatever it is, with the knife and the sword, etc. It was all done very, very well. And it goes back to what I said in the beginning of this, where it has to come back to Robin versus Deathstroke in whatever universe, in whatever format it is, and whoever happens to be playing Robin, whether it be Grayson or Drake. I don't think Jason Todd had any beef with him. I don't remember, but now with Damian Wayne, that's his villain, and I get that. The man bats being stuck underwater, and then all of a sudden now they burst and some of them get eaten by sharks. I thought that was at least entertaining to see. I wasn't exactly thrilled as far as like that being like tight plotting. Tranking and curing them mid-flight, my very first thought was, yay, we saved them. But how high up were they flying at the time that they were tranquilized and changed? And into visibly shark-infested water, turning the man bats back into people didn't really seem like saving them. And they also didn't fly down and pick them up and drop them off at civilization. They just cured them and had them fall to their own fate. I did not like Damian Wayne having morals at the end to save Slade. This was part of what I thought was a very hastily character arc for him. I hate this way of thinking. I hate this way of thinking. Okay, I'll wear that. I hate this way of thinking. I hate this way of thinking. Okay, I'll do exactly what you tell me. And he just conforms way too quickly. And I know he's approval seeking, but still, it's not a satisfying character change when it happens too abruptly, too brusquely. I did like that ending scene. It gave me a chuckle when Nightwing had Damian tied up, because I am, just like Cyber, sick of Damian Wayne. Not a fan of the character.
Thank you, Jeremiah. Yes, that is true. I think Nightwing and Dr.
Hot D.
Damn you, Cyber. Damn you. Yeah, I never realized that. Yeah, the sharks gonna eat those helpless ninjas to their deaths, and they didn't help them. Like, they didn't call the Coast Guards or anything like that to like pick them up. Wow, that's something. Yeah, that is true, and I completely agree with you about the arc with Damien. It was so rushed, and like I didn't believe at once that he like now changes to like take the Batman no coup rule thing at all. That's what I was trying to say before I got to you. Like, yeah, that part I was like, what the hell is going on here? Like how did he get to that point? Like he's been so stubborn about his view as, you know, trying to be the grandson of, grandchild of Ra's al Ghul.
So I mean, like my final tally on that. I know 110-minute movie, tight plotting, a bit rushed, some random flying monkey. Honestly, for this, I would probably give it a solid B.
Okay.
Like you know, I wouldn't kick and scream if somebody drugged me and forced me to watch it again. I wouldn't be upset with them for it.
No, I'll watch this over Batman Robin any day. Anyway, I'll watch this over Batman Robin, definitely. Cyber, your thoughts on the final climax of the Son of Batman, sir? Go ahead, be yourself, be the half shark and half cybernetic person.
All right, so the finale. So, I mean, the finale has quite a bit going on. We have quite a bit of action going on. We learn, about where Deathstroke is at, what he is doing. He's got a Lazarus pit. He wants to sell it for a profit. There's more man-bats there. And, of course, we have, the fight between Damian and Deathstroke. That leads to Talia being mortally wounded. And then, of course, the Lazarus pit is used to save her. And which is great. I think that sequence is really done well. It gets you back into the into the film. I feel get you really going again. And then of course we have Nightwing and Langstrom working together to cure the man bats, which I thought was kind of interesting. Like Nightwing being kind of like almost like a pseudo scientist a little bit. I think that's kind of interesting. Which would be great, for being a crime fighter and stuff like that. So it's great to know Nightwing has that ability. For me, I don't feel I ever realized that Nightwing had that kind of background before. I haven't really read many of his comics, so I wasn't too sure about it. So I found that genuinely fun and an interesting little, tidbit of him working with Langstrom to cure those guys. Of course, defeat of Deathstroke, I think is great. As Andreas has mentioned, Batman has the no kill rule, and basically we have that refusal, and so he's trying to be more like his dad. He's trying to, kind of learn from his dad a little bit there and stuff like that. So you find that kind of, finally kind of Damian kind of getting to a point where you're like, okay, he's not as bad as I thought he was. He's not as irritating. He's still irritating, but not as irritating. And so I think that's a great kind of evolution of the character from the beginning to the end of the film. We get kind of him learning from his father, from the Batman. And, Batman, of course, is just, awesome and badass. So, I mean, why wouldn't you want to be that cool like your dad? So it's great to see Damian taking some, learning lessons from his father. Of course, the underground base gets destroyed. Which is, action packed. That's fun. Everyone escapes except for Deathstroke. He's left behind unconscious. So we don't know his ultimate fate really at that point in the film. So either you could think, oh, he died when the base was destroyed, or did he escape? Maybe, we don't know. So I think that was fun. And kind of leaves kind of that same kind of thing, like, oh, like, where are we going to see Deathstroke again? What happened to Deathstroke? And so, after, they have gotten back, basically they start discussing, like, as Andreas mentioned, Talia and Batman discussing whether or not he'll stay and stay as Robin. And if they come to agreement that he can stay and learn by his father's side, which is great. And then basically, she leaves it at, like, I will return for him someday, basically, which is cool. And then, of course, the film ends, but then we get a little post-credit scene that shows Damian and Nightwing fighting. And I think that's probably one of the best parts of the film, is that little end credit scene there with them battling, because you're just like, kind of through the whole film, you're rooting for Nightwing to kick Robin's ass this whole freaking time. You're like, go ahead, Nightwing, go ahead, do what you want, Nightwing. Nobody will notice, kind of deal, with how irritating Damian is throughout the film. So it's like getting to see that is kind of like the magnum opus of the, this film. So I absolutely love that. I think it's great. And that's definitely my favorite part of this whole film. And I think that was really, fun. But overall, I think the ending, like I said, brings you back, gives you a little bit more entertainment, gives you more action, less chit chat. And, even with the chit chat that is within this section, it's not as kind of monologued, monotoned, or as long that makes it seem like it drags. And I think that they speed up the film a little better here. I noticed that Jeremiah mentioned how it shifts gears, basically from kind of midpoint. Well, it gets into this where it kind of rushes the end. And if they had just really focused on certain sequences, I think would have made that seem more smooth and more apropos for watching this film, and given us, a little more of certain things and a little less of other things. And I think that it could have made the film a little better, even though this film is supposedly an hour and 24 minutes. I think that, it definitely could have been like an hour 10. It could have been an hour. You could have gotten away with getting this done. And I think that, if they had trimmed out a few things and just made it a little more cohesive, I think the film itself would have just been a better type of film. And, too bad that, they decided to kind of add certain things that I just feel were unnecessary at the film. So otherwise, okay ending, definitely brought back the film a little bit, keeps you a little more enticed, and, is not that bad.
Thank you, Cyber. I really appreciate that. Yeah, I mean, we viewed. Cyber, you brought up like the 20th movies that we have reviewed. In the MCU Legion. Some of them are like literally the same hour as this movie, and some of them did way better job of adapting stories. So I was kind of surprised how much this movie like did and like what they changed. And I gotta agree to you, Saber, that like there's certain things they need to cut out that was like so unnecessary. But anyway, Jeff, TrueKnowledge yourself. Your thoughts on the final act and all that? Go ahead.
Yeah, well, I mean, all the other guys pretty much covered it all pretty well, and made really good points already. I felt like it was a really, a really nice, tight ending. It all came together really quickly, and the story flowed. I also thought that it was pretty weak sauce that that Damian didn't kill Deathstroke like he should have killed Deathstroke. You know what I'm saying? That was kind of like a pussy move on his part. I like the fact that Batman stays with Robin at the end of the movie, that they end up together, at least for this film, that's cool that it works out that way, I like the interactions between Batman and Talia when they're together in the film. I like them together. Damian's an okay character. I mean, I liked him as Robin. He was really good there at the end as Robin and everything, and seeing him and Batman together was really great. Overall, just enjoyable, quick, short, action-packed DC animated film.
Nope, I agree. So, thank you, Jeff. Let me stick with you, Jeff. What's your rating for this film? So I'm going round table for you guys. What's your rating? What's your rating first, Jeff?
I'll give it an 8.
Okay. Saber?
5.
Jeremiah?
I said a B earlier,
B,
so
okay.
about I don't know if I feel like an 8. I would maybe 75 C plus to a B. I mean, like I'm not trying to be mean to it. It didn't waste my time, I'll tell you that. Of all the DC animated movies I've seen, that was the most recent one.
I hear you. Yes. Oh god, yeah, this one is the hardest one. I'll give it a 6 out of 10. I mean, it's not the worst I've seen in these DC movies. It was very enjoyable. I appreciate like a pre-established Batman. Like I don't need another origin story, so I appreciate that. But I agree with a lot of you guys, particularly Cyber. Like there were a lot of things they can easily cut to make this movie a tightly driven story that was more engaging than it should. And I like the action scenes, but like your story should be also very entertaining with your characters, and that was somewhat lacking in this film. So that's my problem. So a 6 out of 10. But I will tell the people I highly recommend it. If you're a Batman fan, it's a decent one. It's not the best, but it's decent. So thank you everyone for joining us for the DCAU review of Son of Batman. I want to thank you everyone for listening to this stream review. I want to thank Jeff, Cyber, and I want to say welcome back, Jeremiah. It was great to see you, brother. It was nice to see you again. after so many months and a year, and it was a great start for 2025. So I'm just gonna say to everyone, thank you. I'm gonna now hand over to Jeff and to like plug all of us out. So
Okay.
yeah.
All right. Well, Jeremiah is our only author here, so we're going to let him do his website. Go ahead, Jeremiah.
Oh, and you already have my link tree up. Just scroll down that a little bit. What you have there, it's right with the name underneath my oddly shaped head. It's jeremiahkleckner.com. That'll take you right to that. I have a couple of book series. You like superheroes that kill things? Scroll down just a little bit further down. Boom, further down, boom, superheroes kill. I have the first 3 stories right there, vampires, werewolves, and zombies. I have my own superhero city, my own superhero system, my own main guy, and he's running through a bunch of them. The next ones are going to be dragons, and that'll be out probably sometime this year. I'll probably do that one with that. Most recent books are going to be up top, where you're looking at Major Decision. That's a wrestling themed book, and Watching from Behind Glass Eyes is a collection of short stories that I had previously published in other magazines and websites. And I just put them together, a bit of a sampler for the kind of stuff that I'm best at, which would be sci-fi, fantasy, obscure fiction, weird fiction, I think is what they call it. A lot of dark horror. Always enjoy myself some tense scenes. So check it out, enjoy it. You'll find everything on Amazon. A couple of my books you're gonna find on Audible as well. JeremiahKleckner.com. You see the shop link, and you can hit the links to go ahead and reach out to me any which way you want. Talk to you all soon. I appreciate the time.
There you go. Looks good, Jeremiah. Like the website. Keeping it sharp, brother. Keeping it sharp. Andre's the pop culture guy.
Yes. I just want to say thank you everyone for joining us tonight. Of course, I am pop culture guy. As just like Jeremiah, I am very into old pop culture things like horror, sci-fi, and superhero things. You can definitely check that in this channel. Recently, today, I just posted my 40th anniversary review of Fright Night, the 1985 classic film. To honor for this 40th anniversary, we did a review a couple weeks ago with the MC Bleeding Edge. Please check that out. Tomorrow I'm going to post my Mad Max Beyond the Thunderdome review. So this week, wrapping up the whole January month is like reviews of movies that I did tribute this month. So you're going to see one for Breakfast Club, because I did one with another great podcasters, the Middleman Edge reviews. They're awesome. We did Breakfast Club, the Middle Age Man reviews. Oh God, please, Cyber, don't do this, please. Anyway, I did a live stream review of In the Mouth of Madness with Jeff. Thank you, Jeff, so much for coming to the couple weeks ago for that. There are going to be new live stream reviews in February. So yeah, that's where I'm at right now. Check out all those pop culture themes if you like them or not. So thank you everyone for joining us tonight.
Hey, Andres, real quick, In the Mouth of Madness is one of my favorite films. I'm gonna check out your review. I wish I knew you were doing that, man. I would have popped in on that one a lot earlier.
Yeah. Oh man, it's a great John Carpenter film. Love it. Great,
fantastic.
Yeah, love it. Great horror film.
Cyberneticshark, sir.
Okie dokie, folks. If you join me on the podcast here on either the panel or as a model writer, you can check out my solo content under Cyberneticshark. Find me on YouTube, TikTok, X, Facebook, Instagram, Threads, pretty much any social media platform. You can check me out there. But I can see here my most recent trailer reaction there is for Karate Kid Legends, which is a new movie coming out. Anyways, yeah. So Karate Kid Legends, if you haven't seen it, check out that trailer. Really fun stuff. If you're a huge fan of Cobra Kai, or if you enjoy the original Karate Kid films, excluding Hilary Swanks, version of Karate Kid. You'll like what this trailer has to offer. We got Jackie Chan returning from his Karate Kid film from 2010. It looks pretty decent. Check out that trailer. Also, if you are a fan of Disney at all anymore, check out my Moana 2 review. Pretty decent sequel. Wasn't too shabby. Definitely check out the review. For shorts, I just recently put up a couple new movies. I just checked out Flight Risk, Night Bitch, and A Real Pain. Very interesting films. Night Bitch is one of those films you're just going to go watch and go, I watched it. And then, of course, Real Pain is an Oscar contender for Kieran Culkin and for Jesse Eisenberg. Not too shabby. It's pretty good. If you like those dark kind of comedies with a little bit of a dramatization, go for it. Really decent. And then Flight Risk, if you're just looking for a high-octane, action-packed type of film, check out Flight Risk. Not too bad. But, yeah, there's my mini reviews of those. You can check them out, my most recent ones. I'll be having more reviews for you guys soon, more trailer reactions. My best of 2024 and worst of 2024 will be coming out soon, so keep an eyes out for those, guys. And as always, thank you so much for being a subscriber. If you haven't subscribed, definitely hit that subscribe button if you get a chance. And appreciate you guys. And we appreciate you coming and watching us here on the MCU'S Bidding Edge. If you haven't subscribed to us here, definitely subscribe to us as well and keep on watching. We're live Mondays and Wednesdays, Mondays and Fridays, people. So check us out.
That's right. We'll be back again on Friday at 9:35 p.m. Eastern to do Minority Report, Cyber's pick for this week. So we're looking forward to that. We got a nice big panel for that one. Everybody wanted to jump on for Minority Report. There you go, Cyber. So a lot of people wanted to be on your movie.
That eyeball scene is worth it. The whole eyeball sequence.
Yep. Oh, God.
Anyways, all right, guys. Everybody have a great evening. Y'all take care out there. God bless you. We'll see you next time. Thanks, Jeremiah. Peace, everybody. Later, folks.